Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Day 13, habit 13. You've survived this long. Great job. I'm proud of you. So, for today, habit number 13 in the 30 Habits in 30 Days video series is going to be eating rhythm. Okay? Hear me out. It's important. It's important. Yesterday, we talked about a whole foods diet. Today, we're going to be talking about an eating rhythm. All right? So, what does that mean? Eating rhythm. That means consistent meal timing at different times of the day. Why is this important? Because everything we're doing with these 30 habits is to learn how to regulate our nervous system and have more skill in managing our energy in our day to day life so that we have more conscious, creative control over our future and our destiny. Okay. All of these little habits add up and create the foundation for optimal human health so that you can live the best life that you can possibly live. All right. There's a reason that these are simple habits because everybody can do them. Everybody can do them. Okay. So consistent meal times, breakfast, lunch, dinner. What times of day are best for these different meals? It depends. What time is your wake up time? What time is your bedtime? Are you doing night work? Do you have to wake up early? All right. The general rules that we will follow, if you're not doing any type of fasting, okay, I'm not getting into fasting on this video or intermittent fasting. There are some benefits to that. But for now, if we're just trying to maintain a consistent eating rhythm, what I would suggest is within an hour after waking up, you get a little bit of food, high protein, high fat, depending on what time you work out. If you work out in the morning, that's going to take a little bit more nuance and skill to figure out because we want to be able to consume a little bit of food at least an hour and a half before our workouts. If we eat right before a workout, we might just throw it up. All right. So you want to make sure you're getting a little bit of nutrition, some carbs. When we have exercise and we need to exert more physical intensity on our bodies, we want to make sure we're getting enough carbs before that meal and protein and fat before that meal. But mostly, we want to make sure we're getting the proper amount of carbs before that meal, before a workout, so we have sustained energy. After your workout, you want some protein, some fat, and carbs. But that's after your workout is when you should be focused more on the protein. Before the workout is when you want the carbs and a little bit of protein and fat. So, what I would suggest for a good breakfast would be something like, it depends on your body weight and your goals. Obviously, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to have a little bit of a caloric deficit. If you're trying to gain weight, you want to build a little bit more of a caloric surplus. But what I would suggest, what I usually do is a couple of eggs and an English muffin in the mornings. Okay, a couple scrambled eggs, 2 scrambled eggs, and an English muffin. That's a pretty good amount of carbs, protein, and fat. Put a little ghee, which is clarified butter, on top of the English muffin. All right, so I get a pretty good amount of carbs, protein, and fat first thing. I usually eat that around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. After you eat your breakfast, so you want a consistent meal time about an hour after waking up. Lunch should be your biggest meal of the day. Have at it. Have a big meal, lunchtime, okay? Lots of vegetables, some grains, some protein, all right? That should be your highest calorie meal is lunchtime because our digestive fire is the strongest at around noontime, okay? And then our smallest meal should actually be dinner. We want to reduce the amount of stress we put on our digestive system as we get closer to bedtime, okay? So it's important. One of the other parts of this habit that we'll be implementing for day 13 for the rest of this series is the consistent eating rhythm, maintaining the same time, eat at the same times, and a very important thing, do not eat after 8 p.m. or if you have to, have night shift or whatever, you work late, don't eat 2 to 3 hours before bed. So eliminate the late night snack. Okay, the latest you should be eating. Let's say for me, I go to bed between 10 and 11 p.m. The last food I should be consuming is 8 p.m. That's 2 hours before my bedtime, 2 to 3 hours before my bedtime. Okay, the reason for that, we're going to sleep. When our bodies go to sleep, our body wants to shut down the systems that are no longer necessary to function as we're getting that rest, because our tissues and cells are going to regenerate when we sleep. So we don't want our stomach having to work on overtime trying to digest food. At the same time, we're trying to get rest and repair and regrow our cells, restore our brains, our memory. Okay? So the bullet points for this habit: consistent meal times and no eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. All right. The structure, I would say, is 8 o'clock breakfast, 12 o'clock lunch, 5 o'clock dinner. You've got hours in between each meal. If you need to have a little snack, some fruit, some nuts, some seeds, some cottage cheese, a protein shake, whatever it might be for you, okay, you can have your snacks. If you're trying, maybe I won't get into the difference in macronutrients of what we should be consuming in this video. That's a much longer, in-depth conversation. So maybe someday I'll do that video and post a thing to it up there. But that would be for if you wanted to lose weight, maintain your weight, or gain muscle. All right. And that's based on what macronutrient ratios you should be focused on depending on your goals. Okay. I'll throw a little teaser up there, a little picture of a pie chart that shows and breaks down the macronutrients and what you should be aiming for in terms of the total number of grams or the total number of your daily calories should come from those 3 macros. If you don't know what macros are: carbs, protein, and fat. All right. Yeah, that's a whole nother video that I'll have to do. Some of this stuff, I feel like there's the knowledge that I'm giving for these habits. Sometimes there's a background of knowledge that I have that you might not have. And I'm trying to figure out how to create as much content as I can to give you all of that knowledge that I have. So hopefully someday, when I'm done with these 30 habits in 30 days videos, I'll create a video about nutrition so you can click that and check that out. All right. So that's all. Pretty simple. Consistent meal times. No eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. All right. Good luck. See you tomorrow.